You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Athan Hristodulu.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Greeks Gridiron. I'm Athan Hristodulu, and we are doing our Week 13 Power Rankings video here as we get set for Thursday night kickoff in a couple of days. Washington and Seattle just wrapped up their game last night. I have been gone for a week and a half. I had surgery. I had my gallbladder removed. Pretty crazy thing happened to me at work. But I am back working my way through the recovery, and I decided I'm finally feeling well enough to get back to recording videos for you guys. So without further ado, as always, make sure you like if you enjoyed the video and hit that subscribe button. We're sitting at 186 subs. We're getting close to 2. So let's see if we can power our way through there and get there before playoffs time. Now, talking power rankings, if you have not seen, this is how we do them here. I got the whole screen set up for you guys. I will pop them up into groups of 5 as we discuss them, the exception being the first 7 as we go 32 through 26 as the first group we will discuss. So I will pull them up on the screen for you now. At number 32, as they have been for a little bit now, the Detroit Lions sitting at the bottom of the league, winless, cannot really get much done. For a while, I had the Texans below them, but the Texans were able to squeak by them just last week and make their way into that 31 spot. Then at number 30, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who took another tough loss, 21-14, continuing to struggle under new head coach Urban Meyer, and with a number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. There has been some questions as far as his development is concerned, and some people are questioning the staffing and things like that over in Jacksonville. Sounds like it's getting a little messy. Not sure how that's going to end up, but if I was to give my honest opinion, I don't really feel like Urban Meyer is the guy for Trevor Lawrence professionally, and I would hate to see the talent that Trevor Lawrence has be wasted in Jacksonville because of poor coaching or whatever it may be. I don't know. I don't like or really love in any way that Trevor Lawrence is in Jacksonville. Not to hate you Jaguars fans or anything like that. Trevor Lawrence is so good, and I want to see him be successful, so I really hope at least a coaching change happens because I don't think Urban Meyer's the guy over there. At number 29, we have the New York Jets, who got a big win over the Texans this past weekend, so they moved themselves up slightly. They're no longer the bottom of the barrel. They're sitting right on top of the stuff at the bottom of the barrel there at number 29. Then at number 28, we have the Chicago Bears, who again took another loss this week, a W this week. I'm sorry, not the Bears. Bears got a big W over the Detroit Lions in what was a really ugly game. I mean, there was nothing that looked great, but the Bears overall, they got the win at the end of the day. The Lions more so getting in the way of themselves than anything else. I don't know if I can really put the Bears any higher on this list despite that win, just because that win was so ugly, and I give a lot of credit to the Lions losing that game with a couple of drives ending up at like 2nd and 3rd and 30 or something like that. So shout out to the Bears for getting a W. However, I don't know if I can sit you higher than 28, at least right now. At number 27, we have the Seahawks, who just lost last night during Monday Night Football to the Washington football team in a heartbreaking loss. Failed 2-point conversion ends up being the difference maker here. So unfortunately for Seattle, they now fall to 3-8. Just an absolute down spiral of a season for them. Not the one that I think they were hoping to have, especially with some of the issues with Russell Wilson that were coming up during the offseason. But this is where they sit now for me. At number 26, we have the Carolina Panthers, who got completely thrashed by the Miami Dolphins, who are not much of an impressive team themselves, but have been on a little bit of a win streak recently, so I will give credit where it's due. However, the Panthers' offensive troubles seem to not be solved despite bringing in quarterback Cam Newton. I've seen some people ripping Carolina for the Cam Newton signing, and while I understand the whole situation, it's a feel-good story and whatnot, is Cam Newton going to be the answer for them on offensively? Probably not, but I also get why they signed him. I mean, you just lost Sam Darnold. You probably don't believe in P.J. Walker. Bring back Newton and see if maybe some magic can happen. Obviously, not this week, but who knows? Given another week or two, maybe it improves. Maybe it gets worse. I don't know. The one thing that really disappointed me in this game was the fact that, and I mean, they didn't really get much help from the offense, but the defense, the one real bright spot for this Carolina Panthers team all season, did not play up to par in their normal standards. They let Miami put 33 on them, but overall, a lot of questions, a lot more certainly than answers over in Carolina. We'll have to see where they go from here, but that's them sitting at number 26. Next group of 5, at number 25, we have the Falcons, who got a win over the Jaguars. Close game, 7-point spread there. But overall, they win some, they lose some. They're a very middle of the pack team. You could argue maybe they belong a little bit higher on the list, but I quite honestly just have a hard time buying what the Falcons are selling, especially recently. I don't know. They were very close to being a playoff team. Now they're a little bit further back, but I don't see Atlanta making it into the playoffs, let alone really getting too much further than they have this season. I mean, they barely beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. While the game might not have been that close, you still only won by 7 against a really bad team. And a team that is dealing with a lot of issues. So, again, I'm not too high on the Falcons right now, them at 25. At number 24, we have the Washington football team sliding up the board a little bit here. Win over Seattle, a big one for them to stay within the NFC wild card hunt there. The entire NFC East actually rounds out the next few positions here. So at number 24, we have Washington. At number 23, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, who just lost to the New York Giants, who are actually right above them at 22. I was very disappointed in the Eagles this week. I really thought their ground game would be able to give the Giants some problems and headaches. It did not ultimately. So they are sitting now at 23, while the Giants are right above them at number 22. I don't really know what to make of the Giants. They managed to win a pretty big game for them to keep whatever glimmer of hope they may have about this season alive. They were only able to put up 13 points in the win, but they did hold what was a pretty crazy-looking Philadelphia running game heading into this one down. I don't really know what to make of the Giants, though. They win some random games, and they lose a lot of other games. So, I mean, they have wins over the Raiders now and Eagles, who were looking really hot and were rising on some teams' boards. Now we're just sitting at the higher 20s and lower 20s, I guess you could say. And I don't really know too much of what to make for the New York Giants at this point. That entire NFC East division is just so woefully inconsistent, and I don't really know what to make of just about anyone, not even Dallas at this point. Now at number 21, we have the Miami Dolphins, who are on a steady win streak here. They've been climbing the high 20s and making their way into the low 20s now at the cusp at 21. I've been impressed with what they've been doing the last few weeks. Tua has been looking pretty good. His accuracy has improved. He's sitting at about 70% completion percentage right now. He's in the top 5. So Tua has actually been looking pretty good since he came back from his injury. We'll have to see if Miami continues this little bit of a hot streak that they have going, or maybe they're just, on a string of really good games. I'm not sure, but I will give credit where it is due. They are slowly climbing up the leaderboards with their little win streak they have going. At number 20, we have the New Orleans Saints. Now, this is a team that I had as high as number 10 at one point, and they have free fallen down 10 spots already at number 20. I think the loss of Jameis Winston has really hurt this team. The offense seems to be kind of fumbling around. The defense is also suffering for it as well. And to be quite honest with you, I just don't really know if the Saints are going to be able to make a run at this point with the way their offense is looking, only being able to put up 6 points against the Bills. The defense let up 31. I mean, it's really unfortunate because I love the Saints team, but losing Jameis Winston really, really killed them. And I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but it is 2021. I guess anything is possible. I can't believe I'm saying that the Saints are being held back because they do not have Jameis Winston. I think that some people did not really appreciate how well he was playing until now when they see where the Saints are without him. Now at number 19, I have the Minnesota Vikings, who you could probably argue belong a little bit higher on this list. However, this is another team that I don't really know what to make of. They win some crazy games like beating the Green Bay Packers, division rival, obviously, but still. And then they lose a game to the not the Minnesota Vikings, I'm talking about them, the San Francisco 49ers. So I don't really know what to make of this team. I don't think that they're not a playoff contender. They are like right on the cusp. And when I'm doing these power rankings for you guys, I think it's good to really mention to you all that the difference between like 20 and 11 is like, I'm splitting hairs through, because there is a lot of middle of the pack teams, and you could argue a lot of these teams belong higher and lower depending on where they are. It's ultimately just like, who do you like more, I really think, when you look at these teams that are within like that 20 to 11 spot. So if you see your team that's sitting at like 19 and you're like, well, what, they should be at 13, you know what, you could probably argue that, and that's fair. I think that there is a very big squished up middle of the pack right now in the NFL, and I'd have a hard time really sitting down and being like, yeah, I would die on the hill telling you that Minnesota or Denver belongs at the bottom of the teens here. But at 19, I do have the Vikings. I just need to see more consistency from them before I can start riding them up a little bit higher on the board. I like them at 19. Could they be a little bit higher? Maybe. The Broncos, they got themselves a big win this week. A pretty surprising one at that over the Chargers. I did not expect the Chargers to drop this one, but that defense looked really, really good. Pat Surtain looking outstanding as the young rookie he is. He looks so good, and I think that, their head coach even said it themselves. If they had to do the pick over, they would take Pat Surtain again, and I don't blame them. The dude has looked as good as advertised. I love the way he plays. Physical, really good ball hawking corner. Big fan of that. But ultimately, the defense looked excellent. Minus Von Miller, the Broncos are 2-1 now. So interestingly enough, the big trade for them probably ended up working out for them in the long run. It seems like they don't really need Von Miller anymore. The defense is still playing really good. It's all about that offense, realistically, and this team will go as far as the offense allows them. At number 17, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another tough loss this week here. They got completely blown out by the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think we're starting to really see the cracks inside the Pittsburgh Steelers unit. This is probably not a playoff team, which is really unfortunate. I thought, they could maybe make a crack at it again this year with Ben Roethlisberger coming back, but the loss of Roethlisberger for a few games, and then, he's obviously still playing injured, and now you don't have Juju Smith-Schuster. TJ Watt is gone right now for a little bit. There's a lot of injuries that are racking up for the Steelers, and this team's starting unit is excellent, but I don't know if they quite have the depth that you would normally want from a playoff team and expect to be able to bounce back, especially after such a blowout loss to a team like the Bengals, who I consider a true playoff contender. I have a hard time believing the Steelers are going to rally it around. And it's interesting because just a couple of weeks ago, I had the Steelers at 10. I thought they were a playoff team, but these last two losses, especially this week, really have, in my opinion, kind of shown what the Pittsburgh Steelers are at this point. And I don't know if they're going to be able to make it into the playoff race this year. We'll have to see. Still too early to call, but things are not looking good in Pittsburgh. Right above them at number 16, division rival in the AFC North, I have the Cleveland Browns, who are another team that are starting to slip. We're starting to see the cracks. The offense has really not been moving too well. Baker Mayfield is supposedly getting healthier, but the offense seems to be getting worse. The defense has been playing pretty good. They had 4 interceptions off Lamar Jackson, but to blow the game that you had, to have 4 turnovers and not be able to capitalize on them is very, very concerning in my opinion. I really hope for the best for this Cleveland team and that they can bounce back from it, but ultimately, this is another team that I'm worried about that, a lot of people thought playoff contention, but maybe not as things start to shake out in this back half of the season. Next group up at number 15, we have the San Francisco 49ers. I like them here. This is, again, another team that wins big games, loses big games, and everything in between. Another, they're 6-5 team, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So another team that's just kind of winning some, losing some back and forth. I do think they're probably a playoff team. I could see them making it in as a 6 or a 7 seed. Probably not going to win their division. There is a possibility if the Rams continue to slip that they could really get into a good spot. But ultimately, right now, probably not going to win the division. I think the Cardinals are probably the clear-cut favorites there. But with the Rams slipping, there is a good opportunity for them to maybe even leapfrog and really push themselves into maybe a number 5 seed or something like that if things go really well for San Francisco. Next up, we have a run of AFC teams here for these next 4. At number 14, I have the Indianapolis Colts. They tough loss, I would have to say, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You lose by 7. You were leading for the majority of the game. A lot of really good turnovers. You were giving the Buccaneers fits in the first half. And then at that point, you were able to put up 1 touchdown in the second half. They put up 21 points in the second quarter alone. And this is another game that the Colts have just blown. And they're the different. They're the team that's like the difference between a playoff contender and a pretender right now, in my opinion. The Colts can be so good, but can also blow games at the same time. And it makes no sense to me how you can keep collapsing like this. At this point, I don't. Are they a playoff team? A 7 seed at best, in my opinion. A 7 seed at best is where I would put Indianapolis. That's why I have them sitting at number 14. 13, I have the Chargers. Again, tough loss to the Broncos. Could they have fallen a little bit lower? Maybe. Denver's defense, though, is really good. And like I said, 19 through 11, maybe even 20 through 11, it is so close, and you could argue these teams in so many different places. So again, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, why is this team at 18 and not at 12? It's really not that much of a difference in all reality. These are just numbers that we're looking at here, trying to make sense of where everyone is. The Chargers could potentially be a little bit lower. I do like them at 13. I still think they're a good playoff team. They have slip-ups here and there, don't get me wrong, as have a ton of teams this year. There is really no clear-cut favorites aside from like the top, 3, 4, maybe 5 teams in the league. But ultimately, at 13, I'm comfortable with the Chargers there. Then at number 12, we have the Raiders, who just got a massive win over Dallas in what was a crazily penalized game all Thanksgiving Day. Whether you want to argue the penalties were the reason or not, they came out victors in that game, I don't know. The Raiders have dealt with a lot of adversity, and the fact that they're still winning games and beating teams that are top 10 teams is reason enough that I think they should be sitting just outside the top 10, and I like them at number 12. Then at number 11, before we crack those top 10 teams, the Tennessee Titans. I will say this. This is like the worst. No, that's not a good way to say that. This is the best, worst 8-4 team. Are they 8-4? Is it 8-5 now? I think it's 8-4. I don't know. One of those two. I really, really feel for the Titans. They have so many injuries. I do not understand how they can't keep a single person healthy for more than a few weeks. This was a game of backups and Ryan Tannehill on offense trying to beat the New England Patriots led by Bill Belichick. Not going to happen, was never going to happen, but the fight in them, it's there. They're still 8-4. I don't want to knock them out too early because, we're watching a team like the Cardinals still win games with a lot of backups. Granted, this team is not the Cardinals, but I don't know if I can drop them too far just yet. Titans fans, I feel for you guys. The injuries are unbelievable. I don't want to knock you down too low yet. I'll keep you at number 11 for now. We'll see how things shake out the next few weeks. But this is a team that it's going to go one of two ways, in my opinion. All downhill because there's just too many injuries to overcome, or maybe they surprise us. They win a couple games, lose a couple games these next few weeks as players get back and get healthy. And, maybe we're looking at 10, 11 wins and a playoff berth. A lot of people coming back healthy, and they can make a run in the playoffs. Who knows exactly where they're going to be come that time, but I don't want to knock them down low too early. Then, for the top 10 through 6. At number 10, I have the Buffalo Bills. This is probably lower than what some people have them. I understand they just beat down the Saints. They beat down a Saints team that's dealing with some serious injuries, especially at the quarterback position. I feel like quarterback injuries, they are a lot more effective type of injuries when it comes to the unit and how well they play. I mean, they are literally the guy, the head general on the offensive side of the football, and they're essentially the reason a team can score. I don't know. They've lost to the Jaguars. They got blew out by the Colts. I don't know. I don't believe in the Bills too much. I think they're still a top 10 team, but my thoughts on them being, like the team that was going to challenge the Chiefs in the AFC have kind of waned a little bit. There's some teams that I think are impressing me more. At number 9, we have the Rams, another team, 3 straight losses. Should they maybe be out of the top 10? Maybe. I could see a strong argument. I think those teams at 11, 12, and 13, though, maybe 14, they kind of belong where they are, and I think the Rams are better than them at this point in time. And Titans fans, I get it. You guys beat the Rams, but if things were going on right now, I don't know if that's possible with how injured your team is. So at this current moment, I think the Rams are better than those next few teams behind them. I like them at 9. At number 8, Dallas Cowboys, another team that's on a couple game losing streak right now. Not going to knock them out of the top 10. I still think they're a really good team, but cracks in the armor. We're seeing some things. I'm very surprised that the Cowboys lost this week. I really thought that was like a shoe-in pick for a victory there. They also have that pretty big loss to the Broncos a couple weeks ago that happened as well. Just keep an eye on the Cowboys. I don't want this to be another Cowboys be Cowboys type season where, they start out hot and then fall off, but just be wary. Let's see where they go. Number 7, we have the Bengals. This is a team that, they were just sitting somewhere around like the mid-teens just a few weeks ago, but bouncing back and then crushing a division opponent this week. Safe to say, I think the Bengals are kind of back. They're getting themselves back in a good groove. I really like Cincinnati. I think they are one of the better teams in the AFC, hence why sitting at number 7. At number 6, Kansas City Chiefs. This is a team you could argue potentially maybe needs to be higher, maybe needs to be a little bit lower. As of this point in the season, they're rattling off some big wins. I think they have the longest win. Or no, I believe that is the Patriots right now. second longest win streak, if I'm not mistaken, in the NFL at this current moment. The Chiefs winning a lot of big games. They had their bye week this week, obviously. Hopefully they can continue that momentum. I love seeing their defense bounce back after like a historically bad first like quarter, 5, maybe 6 games of the season. They are playing like historically good now at this point. It's really weird to see two different sides of the coin for that defense, but I like where the Chiefs are heading, the direction they are in, led by a really good quarterback, a really good coach, a defense that is well improved during the middle of the season somehow. Let's keep an eye on them. Now, for the top 5, at number 5, I have the Ravens. This one, you could argue maybe they're a team that belongs somewhere more towards the bottom of the top 10. However, despite how ugly this game was against the Browns, that defense was lights out, and they still found a way to win. Say what you want about the turnovers. I get it. A W is a W, one of the best records in the league. Best record, I believe, in the AFC at this point with only 3 losses. Ravens are a top 5 team, more so because they find a way to win. The defense, John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson threw 4 interceptions, still won the game. First quarterback to do that in like 54 straight starts or something like that where that's happened. So I like what they've got going on in Baltimore. It's hard to watch sometimes, sure, but they win the games. At number 4, New England Patriots. Love what they're doing. Defensively, this unit is incredible. Turnover machines. They are giving a headache to just about everyone that they run into now at this point. 6 straight wins. I mean, they are probably the hottest team in the NFL at this very moment. Mac Jones is making all the right throws, minimizing his mistakes. I mean, I don't know what else you could really say to praise the Patriots. Shout out to Bill Belichick for doing what he's been doing to turn this team around. Absolute unit of a group. Also, let's shout out Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting at number 3. Big win this week. Needed that one over the Colts. Colts are, fringe playoff team. Able to battle back from a massive deficit. They literally went from having, 11 points, I think, in the first half, 10 points in the first half. They were able to win the game in the second half. Big stuff right there from a big QB, big-time QB in Tom Brady. Shout out to them at number 3. At number 2, the Green Bay Packers. I mean, what is there not to like about them at this point? Their defense is playing great. Offense is getting it done. Aaron Rodgers has 9 toes, but, forget the one bad toe. Who cares? He's got 9 good ones. I mean, literally the only team they didn't beat this year that they really needed a win over is the team sitting right above them at number 1. That's the Arizona Cardinals. They're on a bye week. I've had them set at number 1 now for about 3 straight weeks. Obviously not going to take them down considering they didn't play this week, and nobody really did anything this week to make me feel like they should be leapfrogging the Arizona Cardinals. I think they are still the de facto number 1 team in the league. They have 2 wins and a loss with Colt McCoy starting at quarterback. That's not even their starting unit. DeAndre Hopkins hasn't been playing. They're the number 1 team in the league, in my opinion. But that is my power at 32. I appreciate you all for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of the rankings, who belongs where. Like I said, that 20-11 spot, do not get too offended if your team is sandwiched somewhere in there, and they should probably be higher or lower. I think it's really a nitpicky type of thing. And you could argue a lot of those teams should be higher or lower depending on, what side of the argument you're on. That is a group right there that I am not sold on, and I will not die on a hill defending. So feel free to say what you want about those. I'm really not going to argue you too much on that one. But again, that is all I got for you guys today. I appreciate you all for watching. Be sure to make sure you subscribe. Again, we're getting close to 200. For more content, I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good rest of your Tuesday, everybody. Enjoy.